So Elon Musk, thank you very much for talking to The Economist. I first want to ask you, why have you turned up at this Giving Pledge event here in Santa Barbara?
Well, I wanted to hear from others that had a strong philanthropic initiative. I wanted to hear what they were doing, what was successful, what was unsuccessful, so as to better inform the things that I do.
And did you learn much?
I did. Now, one of the things that we have agreed to here is that we would not discuss the specifics of conversations, because obviously if somebody's talking about something that they did that wasn't successful, that it's a little embarrassing. So you don't want to.
So there was lots of confession to failure and so forth.
There was, and as the saying goes, I mean, if you try a bunch of things and you often learn more from failure than from success.
Now you have focused on 3 areas of business now that, but all have potential social benefits associated with them.
Yeah. So I think in my case, the 3 areas that I'm focused on being space exploration, solar energy, and electric cars. I actually did create those businesses because I felt those were important needs that had to be solved. They certainly were not picked because I thought they were the highest return on investment, and I think that intuitively most people would agree that having heard of Solyndra and other issues in solar power, that wouldn't be high on the list, nor would car companies, given that the next youngest car company in America is 90 years old. Also, rockets are not an area where there's been a lot of commercial sort of private success. So very fortunately, all 3 seem to be doing well. I think I could have probably made a lot more money from, say, starting another internet company.
PayPal, where you started out, made your fortune first time round. A number of you have gone into philanthropy now, and it seems to be becoming younger and younger that people start to become philanthropic. Why do you think that change has happened, the generation change in terms of giving at such an early age?
Well, I think part of it is that people have become wealthy at an early age. And so there's been more of an opportunity to give away wealth if you've obtained it earlier in life.
And you think that's here to stay, that shift?
Well, I think it is for the internet. It's a lot harder to build wealth in other businesses where there's large physical objects that need to be made. So, for example, with SpaceX, where we're going to make these giant rockets. It's taken 10 years to get SpaceX to this point, and where it's perhaps of a value comparable to what we sold PayPal to eBay for after 3.5 years.
So it's interesting, with solar at the moment, there seems to be tremendous gloom around, and particularly Solyndra sort of did create that. You're still optimistic, are you?
I am, actually. I think that there's a lot of opportunity in solar. There have been, besides Solyndra, a lot of solar companies that have either seen a collapse in their market value or have died. But I think it is a very important area, and it's very important that there be successes in that arena because we have to have a sustainable energy. That's why I've put my capital to work in that regard. Even though it's not probably the place where it could earn the highest return.
And Tesla, it is now a public company.
Yeah.
Had losses in the most recent quarter. How is it going?
Well, I think things are going reasonably well. We're going to be in production with our sedan next month, so we'll start our first customer deliveries next month. With new technologies, there does tend to be this sort of ebb and flow of excitement about it. At first, it'll seem it's not working, and then it will seem like it is. But I think it's sort of like an upward sloping sine wave. So long as there are companies that are driving the technology forward, as Tesla is, that sine wave will continue to be upward sloping. So I think in the next several years we're actually going to see a huge increase in the number of electric cars. Tesla in the second half of this year will produce more electric cars than is produced in its entire lifetime to date. I feel very confident predicting that within 20 years, a majority of new cars produced will be fully electric, and I think it may be closer to 10 years than 20.
Lastly, with SpaceX, what is your vision for the next 5 years or so for SpaceX?
Well, it's essentially we're going to launch put a lot of satellites into orbit for a wide range of customers. We'll be doing a lot of cargo resupply missions to the space station. In about 3 years, we'll be launching astronauts, hopefully, three or 4 years, but hopefully closer to 3. We'll be launching a Falcon Heavy, which will be the most powerful rocket in the world by a factor of 2. And then in the longer term, perhaps in the 10 to 15-year time frame, I'm hopeful that we'll have a craft that can take people to Mars. Because the ultimate goal of SpaceX is to develop the technologies that can take humanity to Mars.
Would you want to be on that flight?
I'd like to go to Mars, absolutely. I think it would be great to be born on Earth and die on Mars, hopefully not at the point of impact.
Right. Well, on that cautiously optimistic note, thank you, Elon, for talking with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right.